I'm going to draw a stark comparison between rioting and getting stuff done. So if you look at the first time I saw a protest here was in, it must have been 2018, and people come down the Royal Mile and they're blowing whistles and they're waving flags. I'm like, what's this? And they go, this is a protest. I'm like, a protest? Nothing will change. But look at a protest in France. They petrol bomb the police. They take over cars. In Africa, the same thing. When they protest, they do so much damage to the economy. And I don't know if stuff gets done with protests. That's that loss of property. They set cars alight. Economy comes to a grind. But people voice their frustrations like that. It becomes really, really violent. Those protests in LA, I don't know if you've seen them.
Yeah, just
they petrol bomb the police. They go absolutely crazy because they want to enforce change.
Over here, we'll throw maybe jelly beans or something at them.
I don't know. It's an interesting thing. Is how do you drive change? Because everybody's always like, yeah, no, we love change, but deep down, everybody's so scared of change.
Change is extremely difficult, and I guess for 2025 that we're in just now, change is becoming apparent. Where you see a lot of people's business journeys, you see a higher rate of insolvency. You see a lot of people folding their businesses. It's difficult. I mean, the client journey. But there's other businesses that are actually scaling through this torment. So, I mean, I suppose let's have a wee chat about that. And we've seen the rise. We've seen the rise in utility costs, the national insurance costs, taxation. We've seen the food prices,
cost of living
increase.
prices, that type of thing. Yeah,
everything's up.
Everything's up. So it's all got a knock-on effect because it gets passed on to the consumer, which is also ourselves. For when we're purchasing things. But there are businesses that are actually scaling. So what entrepreneurs or what business owners are actually seeing a way forward? I mean, here's the first question then. How do you look at your costs and how do you shave your costs?
I'm going to say to you, business is all about managing risk and understanding what risks affect your business. And one of the things that guys never do is nobody ever builds a recession-proof business because they think it'll never happen to me. They think a downturn will never happen to me. Never. It's never going to happen to me. Never. And they don't look forward. So the guys that are scaling and thriving are the guys that's been looking forward and saying, okay, what does it look like? What do we need to change? What have we become complacent in? But to answer your question about costs, best way to look at your costs is what cost do I actually need to run this business? You need to be ruthless. You need to be brutal. And if people, in any business, people are normally the biggest cost. What can you do with that people? Can you change the structure? Is it 3 days? Is it 5 days? Is it 2 days? What do you do when there's a downturn? Nobody thinks like that. What cost do you really, really need? Software costs. Do you need everything in software? Because we're living in an increasingly automated world. Can you automate? Outsourcing is becoming massively popular. So if you think about a large organization that's got an HR department and they've got 2 people employed, they can outsource that whole function to an outsourced HR company for a fraction of the cost, less than one person's salary a year. Mm-hmm. That's what guys are starting to do. And these are the difficult decisions that guys are starting to have to make, because whether you like it or not, we're already in a technical recession. Whether the bank has said it or not, we're in a recession. There's not that much growth coming. There's not that many new clients coming. And I think guys that are really smart are investing in customer journey, customer expectations. They're starting to understand what their customers require. They stay a lot closer to their customers than further away from them. And that's the interesting thing, is we think that we send an email or a text and we're close to our customers. That's not the way it works. You need to look at your customers. You need to, I hate this big word, segment them, because 80% of your business will come from 20% of your customers. Those 20% of your customers, are you talking to them? Are you asking them questions? Are you saying to them, we're doing a small little survey here. Just tell us, how easy is it to do business with us? Very simple thing. How easy is it to do business with us? Scale of 1 to 10. And second one, would you tell your granny, your wife, and your girlfriend about this? Would you refer and recommend me? And then ask them why. Because you're not looking for specific words. You're looking for trends and patterns that emerge from it. But it sounds so, this sounds like textbook speak.
Well, but it's amazing how, we have done it. and you think that your business is, it's the best one out there. But it's always interesting to see the feedback you get. People are going to be honest with you.
That's the thing, is honesty in business. We don't like honesty in business. We don't like honesty in life. We don't, because and it depends on how the message is delivered. Don't get me wrong. You can't come out and go, hey, I don't like you. It's about saying, let's take a look in the mirror. Let's take a look at the mirror in this business. Let's really look at it. And it's interesting. I've had a coffee this week with guys built quite a successful business, but he's not honest with himself. He's not honest with himself about the business, because what's happening is he's got a specific pain point in that business. And that's where his focus is, just on that pain point. But all the other factors in the business is ignoring. He's ignoring them all. So once he thinks that pain point is fixed, all the others are still going to be there.
Yeah.
And then it just takes you longer and longer to fix it. But honesty in business is an interesting thing. You're right. Can you handle criticism from your customers? Can you handle it when you say, we give good customer service, and your client comes back and go, no, you don't, because of this, this, and this? Do you go in a defensive and start making excuses? Do you blame? Or do you go, I recognize that, and let's see what we can do?
That's it. That's the opportunity. You have to be ready for it. And then that is the opportunities for you to fix these things, at least address them to a point where things are in an improvement in your business.
So we're talking about the client journey, but how do you create more of a client loyalty? So you're talking about 20% of your business, right? That's where the magic
So
happens.
80% of your turnover will come from 20% of your clients.
Yep. So how do you build
How do you build client loyalty?
A loyalty when the purse strings are a bit tighter?
I think it's down to the value you're creating. When clients see you and customers see the value you've got, and they understand that value that they're bringing for them, that's half the battle.
So when you talk about the value that you're bringing, when let's say let's take a business, let's just a virtual assistant. How do you build loyalty then?
It's the same thing. I think it is down to the value. So you're obviously going to somebody like that because you're time poor. You need to generate more time for yourself. And this is a way, just like Wicus was saying, outsourcing. So you go to a virtual assistant and they take off X, Y, and Z off your plate. The value they're creating for you there is your time back, which allows you then to go and grow your business.
But when money is tight, how do you balance those two? Because I absolutely agree with you. It's a value you create. But let's just say money is tight. There's not enough coming in to cover your expenses currently. Okay, or you're just breaking even. You're not able to cover all your expenses. You're living from credit card debt to credit card debt to fund your business, because banks aren't giving any money without you donating your firstborn child and a kidney and your heart for research purposes and those type of things. So they take everything. So when the chips are already down, how do you structure it innovatively? Nice word.
Do you know what? Just thinking on the spot just now, when you've got the downturn in value, loyalty, why don't you start thinking about, for anybody listening, start thinking about more collaborations? Even, this might be on its head a little bit, but it's out the box ideas. When you're talking to your clients, to build up that loyalty, just say, we noticed there's a bit of a downturn with a lot of things, but we just want to check in with you, see how you were doing. You've got your job that you're doing, whatever it is. Tell me a little bit about it. Is there any way that we can help you with our network to hopefully keep your position in a stronger place for you? This is the right side. I'm not saying this is right and wrong, but it's just different ways to look at it. Look at your competitors. Listen, there's a downturn. I'm just thinking outside the box. Do you want to do something collaborative to try and help you out, help your running costs, our running costs?
Do you know why the likes of a Tesco and a Asda, everybody price matches to Aldi and Lidl?
Oh, it's competitive, and to let them go, there's no point going there because we're the same price.
Yeah, but why are they price matching?
Why?
Yeah.
Because consumer consumption, spending habits. People may be going to Aldi's now to try and save a couple of pounds.
Why is Aldi and Lidl ahead of the game?
Because they're looking, it's one of the biggest things. People need to buy food.
Yeah.
It's a must. It's not a want, it's a must.
It's a need. It's not a want, it's a need.
So why would you go?
So sorry, you're on the right track with competitors because they're competitors, but they share the same distribution center. So it halves their distribution costs. Okay? That's what you're talking about, collaborating with your competitors. But you know what? In all honesty, we like to be self-sufficient. What's in it for me? Why would I give you that competition? We don't see blue ocean. We fish in the water where the sharks are rife. And that's a difficulty with it when people think, let's talk about competition. Oh, no, he's going to steal this customer. If your customer is really loyal to you, doesn't matter. Your customer will always stay loyal to you.
You're right, because that's the thing that people dive into. Oh, what happens if they change? You see, if they do steal your client, it wasn't the client for you.
Exactly. That client was never loyal to you.
Exactly.
But when times are tough and every penny counts, that's a bitter pill to swallow. That's a hard thing to say, you know what? And then you go back and you think, oh, what about all these times that I've helped you out? I've reduced my pricing to you.
Well, here's the thing. If you've got that strength of character to get yourself through it, when you get through it, mark my words, you'll be in a stronger position because you went through a little bit of pain, a bit of failure, but you will learn something from it. And all it does, it highlights the importance of good guys and bad guys in business. And the question is, you ask these people, when we get past this, do you want to be known for the good guy or the bad guy? Because shit seems to stick. And it's just whether or not you want that attached to you. You've got a big network behind me. I wouldn't like them to find out that's the type of character you are, would you? Certain questions, it's like putting as you've said before, put a dead fish on the table. Before you're going to start something or a collaborative business or, just collaborate with someone, put your stall out. Let them know and how it would make them feel and how it would make them look. People have more truck with that. Would you agree?
You have a lot more faith in humankind than I have. You have a lot more faith. I think people are in it. What's in it for me?
There's always that element.
But I think it's much bigger than we make out to be. I think I always study that two the bullshit values you can fake is honesty and integrity. And I think in a situation like that, people fake it. They go, it's 50-50. What does this guy now really know? Is he really going to? They don't. And this is the thing is, where we live? We live for tomorrow. And in business, we should be looking at everything you do today will only yield success in 3 to 6 months. Okay.
Now here's one for you. Wicus, I want to do a collaborative thing with you.
No, Johnny.
You don't. And that's how you would be it.
No.
So if the person said yes.
Yeah. So let's just re-go. You go.
Wicus, it's a downturn in business. I'm looking at all strategic growth patterns. I'm looking at ways to get past this. And I like what you're doing. And I want to sit around the table and figure out if there's something that we can do.
Absolutely. Where do you want to collaborate? What do you want to look at? What specific areas do you want to focus on? Where do I focus on? And how do we create value for the client? So we create something where it's sticky for the client that he will never leave our collaboration.
Yep.
What do you think? I do quite a bit with some guys where I collaborate on stuff like that because I'd rather have 10% of something than 0% of nothing.
Right. So the good thing is we're in different businesses.
Yeah.
When you're in the same business as someone, that's where there's that worry, that concern they'll still work. However, because you're in a different business, I'm a different business, it can work, right? But hear me out. Wicus, I just want to put my stall out. The biggest problem in business, or one of the problems, is that trust element. Now, if I ask you, are you trustworthy, you're going to say,
yes.
Yes. However, if we give you a client and you screw that client over or you screw me over, how do you think it makes me feel?
It's going to make you feel angry, upset, and you're going to think that I am not the right guy for you.
And I will promise you, if that does become the case, I will shout that out at the top of the hills because I will ruin you. I'll do my best to ruin you. And the reason why is this business, do you know what this business feeds?
I have no idea.
My family. And my family is important. Would you say family is important to you?
Absolutely. But what I would say is, was that a veiled threat? Because my family is just as important to me.
And that's the exact same thing. And I'm glad you said that because I'm fighting for your family and you're fighting for my family. And together we could get somewhere great. But would you not be in agreement that we want to put the stall out there to make sure that nobody's going out there to try and shaft anybody?
I think transparency is key from the word up, from the word go. I think it is how you put it out there. because people feel threatened. They misinterpret very, very quickly. They go, "Are you threatening me?" And I go, "Take it whichever way you want. It's a threat. It's a promise. It's just the way it is." I'm not responsible for how you feel.
Strong leadership, strong entrepreneurs, whatever you want to call it, they'll have these blunt conversations, and it's the soft fairiness. They're the ones that you don't want to be working with sometimes, because they've maybe not got that backbone. They've maybe not failed enough. There's people that can be really blunt in business. I'm not that put out by them, because I get it. They maybe are not articulated the right way, but I get what they're meaning from it. But that's where you can reply in the right way.
Yeah, there's nothing as frustrating. I was on a Zoom call. It's interesting you said that. There's nothing more frustrating when a guy goes, I like what you're saying. I think it could work. Let's regroup next week. What you're telling me is you're talking shit. I don't know, like what you're doing, and I'm going to buy myself another week's time. You know what?
See things like that. You say, well, I says, I totally understand that. Just out of curiosity, before we meet up again, is there anything that I can go away and think about? It might be something that's on your mind. And what they'll do is they'll eventually tell you what the problem is.
I know exactly what the problem is. The problem for them is money and investment. They don't want to do it again. So it was just interesting. It's interesting that you said it, because people always find a reason why it can't happen. There'll always be 100 reasons why things can't happen. But nobody ever looks at it like, okay, this sounds like a good idea. Let's explore it a little bit more. What could it look like? Because if you're really honest with yourself, nobody loves change. Nobody likes change at all. Everybody's scared of change. And if you want to be somewhere in business, you're going to have to change it.
Yep.
Because you've become complacent. I'm going to tell you now, the biggest risk in business, say what you want, is complacency. And it's rife at the moment. You've always done it. You'll always do it. You don't see another way. I mean, I'm talking, I know a guy that's not prepared to change anything that he's doing in his business, not prepared to change anything. And if he doesn't change, he's going to lose it. And you have those conversations, the guy goes, yeah, we'll see where it goes. So I've just wasted an hour of my time that I'm never going to get back. But more importantly, he's going to lose a business that supports 18 people. So, when you talk about things like that, are you prepared to hear the hard truth? Are you prepared to be honest with yourself? Very few people are that self-aware or don't take things personally. We all take things personally. We all think we're at the top of our game. Guess what? You're not. There's so much that we need to learn every day. So every day is a school day. But every day you need to start challenging the status quo. You need to start looking at doing things differently. Because the world is changing, and it's changing at pace. Technology is changing at pace. Like Apple is one of the most valuable companies now. In 5 years' time, it won't be. It won't be the most valuable company. There's businesses coming that's chasing. NVIDIA, they've recently jumped into that Magnificent 7 through super chip processors for ChatGPT and AI. 5 years from now, you'll see that is what they worry about. They don't worry about tomorrow or the next 6 months. They worry about 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now. That's what they worry about. And as a business owner, you should be worrying not about 2, 3, 4, 5 years. You should be worrying about the next 3, 6, 12 months from now. What does that look like? What do I need to do today to get there? I think we've done this before. The exercise, if your mobile phone breaks, what do? You could buy a new one because it's a commodity. 10 years ago, or even 5 years ago, you would have had it repaired at 100 quid instead of going to spend 1,200 quid on a new phone. Okay? Mm-hmm. So that's how consumer behavior is changing. So you find all these little stores that were fixing phones. Yeah, there is a certain demographic of the population that will always repair their phones. But most people will go buy their phone because you can get interest-free credit. So you pay it off. So it becomes easy. It becomes accessible.
It's amazing how the drip feed, I call it, has changed from your mum and dad's era, talking from their 60s, 70s and 80s, even early 90s, where you bought it. That was it. You bought your car. Very seldom did I know people that had lease cars and things like that. You just owned your car. You saved up.
You bought your car.
That was it. That was a consumer habit.
You know which is one of the biggest consumer habits here is owning your own house. People think that there's security in owning your own house. It's an interesting thing for me always, like owning your own car or leasing your own car. Let me ask you, when was the last time either of you bought a car?
5 years ago now.
Outright?
No, just gone car shopping.
Oh.
Soon you're going to have to go car shopping for Maya. So I'm going to be interested to watch that evolution happen.
3 years ago, I think it was.
And how did you buy the car?
Price.
Okay.
The price, the numbers came back. I thought, right, that's fine.
What were the numbers that you were looking at?
I was looking at a certain number for affordability.
Monthly or lump sum?
Just monthly. And then when I looked at the interest rate, I looked at the expense of that money.
Okay.
And then we battered down on that. But because of the FCA and the credit and how everybody's like, we can't manipulate the figures as much now, what we used to do, I went, well, that's not going to work for me, so we'll need to do something else. And that's where they come in and give you an extra warranty, or they give you, when the MOT's due, and we'll give you that. So
that's an interesting thing. What I wanted to illustrate here is buyer behavior has changed. You don't see guys advertising cash prices of cars anymore, unless you're buying a second-hand car. They advertise monthly installments, because that's how you buy. Kitchens. What sounds better? Pay 10 grand for your kitchen now, or 250 a month for the next 5 years?
No, that's exactly it.
Okay, so 250 a month is 3 grand. Over 5 years is 15 grand versus 10 grand for a kitchen. People don't think like that anymore. Credit has taken over. I think pre-COVID, Barclays had some sort of crazy statistic that just during COVID or just after COVID, there was 200 billion saved away because people couldn't go out and spend their money.
Yeah.
Over the course of the last 2-3 years, that's all been eradicated, all been gone. So what's happened? Where are we going to with this? And I think 2025, you're right. 2025 is going to be a difficult year. Even 2026. What are you prepared to change? What are you seeing as your challenges? Often you write down your challenges. This is the thing about writing things down, why I believe writing things down, because it makes it real. It makes it real if you write it down, because it's no longer sitting in your head. It's on a piece of paper. You can look at it. You go, I didn't know it was this big. Write your bank balance down and go, didn't know it was this big. Write your debt down. Like, whoa, this is big. Write it down. It's something in the mind. It makes it real for you.
It starts a plan as well. If you start putting figures down and stuff in front of you, whatever the subject is, then you start to get some form of picture, and from that, then where do you go from there?
So that's an interesting one, yeah. So you know how they consolidate debt. If you're in business, let's just say you've got 5 loans, and the smallest loan is £100. You pay that one off first. Yep. And then you take that £100, you put it onto the second one, and you pay that one off. And you just roll it up like that. Okay, now it sounds easy because we live in a society where if you can't afford it, you put it on your credit card. And if your credit card gets to a certain amount, you do a balance transfer and you pay that off a month. Not thinking smartly about money. And that's a problem with our education system, because we're not educated about money. I believe having credit cards. Okay, so we have credit cards. We spend them and then we pay them off at the end of the month. Because if you can't afford to pay off your credit card, you shouldn't have it. You shouldn't have a credit card at all.
And the thing is, the credit card game, where a lot of people will not know what that is that you're getting something for free.
Nothing is for
you're
free.
Well, within reason. You take an Amex card or whatever credit card, you're looking for the cards that have got free insurance on it.
Yeah.
It could be a real
free airport
things.
lounge access.
Airport lounges, all these little things. And the credit cards are a business that are trying to sell things as well. So if you take an Amex card, you pay a small fee, but you get the points on it. So you can change it if you're flying to Dubai, if you're flying on British Airways. You can get cheaper flights by, what things do you buy every day? Fuel, food. Just put it on your credit card. You're going to spend it off your debit card or in cash. Just put it on your credit card. And you're gaining something from it that you wouldn't get from using your debit card. And the best thing is now, consumer habits, buying online, you're protecting your money as well, because it's not your money. It's someone else's.
Absolutely. And then you give it to them and they have to sort it out for you.
Exactly. So, this is not, there's not an education on this.
Yeah. But credit card is the worst debt you can get in. If you're not, what you're saying, if you can't afford it,
shouldn't have one.
You have to be very strict on making sure you pay it off.
And I don't say that flippantly. Believe me, that I've seen people amass huge amounts of credit card debt and then they don't know how to get out of it. And then you move it to balance transfer. But the problem is you still have to pay it back. And if you don't have the money to pay it back, what do you do? Because then you have to make choice. I either heat my house, feed my children, or pay back my debt. Which one of those three am I not going to do? Definitely not going to pay my debt, because I'm going to feed my children and I'm going to heat my house. And it's about being disciplined. But we live in an age of consumerism. Okay, you look at ads, you walk into the shops, impulse purchases. There's a lot of stuff we buy that we don't actually need.
Yeah,
look at your look at your wardrobe. For instance, you look at your wardrobe. Okay, and tell me, can you wear all of those items? Do you wear?
Well, not in a winter.
Yeah, it's more
Not in a winter.
And there's loads of stuff for everybody that just sits. You know.
There's loads of stuff. So there's loads of stuff that you can be doing, but and this is why I say to you, become complacent. Behavior starts driving it. Complacency. Look at your relationships. Look at the last time. I mean, we're trying to implement this new thing about disconnecting from technology, because technology runs your life. It runs your life, whether you like it or not. Alexa, the smart speaker, listens to your conversations.
Oh, it doesn't have.
It prompts things on your phone. Facebook knows 400,000 things about you didn't even know about yourself. So does Instagram, so does TikTok. And people sit there, I think they call it doom scrolling. And very quickly, you could spend 8 hours, you could spend 2 hours a day just on that. But what if you spend that 20 minutes doom scrolling just educating yourself, just learning something new, a new skill, a new language, change your behavior. But it's so easy to say that, because there's so many pressures in life, and in business, it's amplified. The noise is amplified, and it's okay if it's just you and 2 or 3 employees. When you go to you and 20 employees, the noise is amplified 20-fold. And then it's important to have the right structure in place. And in any business, I'll tell you, you need a thinker. In any business, there's a thinker, there's a finder, there's a hunter, there's a farmer, there's an organizer, there's a processor, there's a learner, there's an analyst, and then there's a doer. In any business. And out of those 9 words I've just recited, you do all 9 of those tasks. But when you grow, how do you start giving some of those tasks away? It becomes very, very difficult, because you want to keep your finger on the pulse and everything. So if I had to ask you, Tim Cook, CEO of Apple, do you think he gets involved in the design of the phones?
No. I mean, I have a say on things, there's no doubt, but that you want to empower your staff and bring in people that are better at things than you are. That's the ideal scenario. If you can get good staff that are better than you.
But that comes at a cost, though.
It does, yeah, but that's part of the journey.
Yeah, but if you don't have any money, how do you structure something differently?
Well, that's just where collaborations and thinking out the box comes in. There's people that will help you. You know, if I'm sitting with someone that's struggling with a certain aspect, you'll help them. And there's something I can do that will push you forward a bit, or I know someone, or, you know, it's building those relationships. It's a bit like, you know, what we talked about earlier. There is a lot of trust when you're working with another business, especially if it's in the same sector. But actually, if you can get these relationships built up, there's loads of room for that. Even way back when I was on the tools, and it's more down to timing than, say, any recession or anything like that. But some businesses just had big jobs on and had loads of work, and your work's dried up. So we would get shipped out to different companies if work dried up, because they don't want to lose the staff. It was a way of retaining staff.
Yeah.
But they're giving us, you know, we're trained tradesmen that are going in and out of another business to help them do the work that they've got. And you could have a position there where you're then getting tapped and stolen. They've now lost that at the company I was at, but it just never happened. You know, they just wouldn't do it, because this was a cycle that worked for everybody. So if you did do that, you're just cutting the head off that going forward. So there is a lot of trust involved, but
I think
there.
Yeah, I think construction, if I look at it, construction is under threat at the moment.
There's definitely a squeeze on that.
There's a squeeze on your margins. There's a squeeze. Manufacturing is under threat. People. Material costs, steel tariffs.
Through the roof.
Even in buildings, so steel, building piling. If I start looking at it, because we were talking the other day, what business is recession-proof? Well, 2. I just need 2.
Well, one's letting. In a recession, you know, the houses, that's one of the first things that goes.
But you guys are fighting for the same portion of the market.
Yeah.
So everybody, if they want to squeeze you out, they'll just drop their prices to 4-5%. They don't make any money, but they're crazy about doing it.
So what business?
So what business, whether it's up or down, people go and they spend money.
Funeral care.
Number 1, funeral parlor, because people die. And you want to give them the best burial. Second one.
When you're born.
Neither of you use them, so it's okay.
Well, that's a good question, actually. It's recession-proof. Funeral care, because we had a chat about funeral care a long time ago.
You've got fuel. Petrol stations will always do well. And food. another one.
But convenience store or so food's an interesting one because all people do is they shrink the size of their basket. Okay, they don't spend more. But think about barbers. Men always have their haircut. Hey, not going to have that. They'll find it 10, 11, 12, and the price point is sufficiently low at whatever between 10 and 15 to keep people coming back relentlessly because they're not going to have their wives cut their hair because they still have to go to work. Those two businesses are probably sort of the only two that come hell or high water will still survive. But if you look at food, people will move from, if they bought Marks and Spencer's, they'll move down to Tesco, Sainsbury's, Asda. If they bought from them, they move down to Aldi. They just adjust their buying habits, but they shrink their baskets.
Hairdressers.
No,
Is that why there's so many? Or it could just be the fact that Britain's just letting drug dealers in. And I mean,
It's another thought, that, Johnny.
well, you look at the barber shops, you go, how much is that to kit that out? Right, that's
Where does that money come from?
25 grand, 30, probably 30 grand to kit that out. Why is this happening and why are they popping up everywhere? It's a cover up.
Money laundering, here we go.
Well, it is. It is money laundering. And what MP, you've got me, get me ready to fire up here. I'm just winding up here.
No, I just want to know.
If I seen another business in my field that was doing everything wrong, doing something illegally or stealing from other businesses, mark my words, I'd be the first one to stand up and grab them by the throat, right? If I had a local village or whatever and something was, and I was an MP there or MSP and things weren't correct, I'd be the first person to go, what's going on here? This is not happening on my watch. But we've not got that as such. I'm assuming we have got that in some places, but there's so many things that are happening, and that's one of the things. The barber shops popping up left, right, and centre. Go, this is an absolute joke here. This is money laundering to the high. Who's allowing this to happen? Who's physically allowing this? Yep, we can see it. Yep. So, okay, it's fine. We're happy with this illegal activity happening. Where's the backbone?
Because we don't look at it like that. We think, oh, it's another business popping up. We don't understand. We don't look behind the curtain.
Rates.
Yeah, exactly. We don't look behind the curtain. You know why? Because it's easier to stay blind and just say, you know what, let me just continue. It's just easier.
Well, it's like anything, and I'm going to go down this road. And I know
go.
you're probably nervous about it.
No, never.
Humans that are identifying as fucking dogs and cats, all of that. At what point is you go, yep, okay, no problem. Listen, son, daughter, go to the hospital and lie down and have a wee word with yourself. But too many people are, well, there are people that are saying this is just ridiculous. They maybe articulating this in a better way, right? But the blunt story is, I could be around 100 people and they'd all share the same. This is a small minority that's getting a big voice because the multimedia, they love the echo of this. They like to throw that out there because it's all smoke and mirrors. It's all nonsense, but it's detracting you away from what the big issues are just now. That there is an absolute joke. Stop advertising. It's like terrorism. Don't advertise it. Just do not advertise it. They've not got a voice. Cut it off. Cut it straight off.
I'm going to say they've made the exception the norm, and we're driving traffic towards the exception. Don't do the norm.
Not in my watch is happening. No danger. And call me for whatever you want. It's because you're probably wet. You're just a wet wipe. But there's a right way, there's a wrong way. Now, don't get me wrong. Human beings, you've got to look after people. You've got to be kind, considerate, all of that. But when somebody's coming around and says, I identify as a spade. Sorry? Are you okay? Do you want a cuddle? Do you want to lie there? There's medication that you could get for this.
Do I need to book you into the mental ward?
Yes, exactly. And most people know, right? Most people know. What you said.
I'm just... There's one of these.
You can only choose to be offended. You can only choose to be offended.
That's all.
Johnny's on a rant.
Because he's been on a rant before.
But it is interesting that you say that, though. I mean, if you think about society as a norm, injustice happens when good people stand by and do nothing. And that's where we are at the moment. We stand by and we do nothing. We allow our children to abuse the children, our children to abuse the teachers. We think that's acceptable. we think that it's a teacher's job to raise our children. And you can disagree with me all you want to, but this
Who
is
would
where it
disagree
starts.
with that, though?
No, there's lots of people that disagree with my
Because
opinion.
they're wet wipes.
No, yeah, I do. This is not, the opinion is, though, if we treat everybody the way we would like to be treated, we would show tolerance and understanding, okay? But if I look at school teachers, and it's interesting because I had a coffee with a friend of mine, and his school teacher's been, or his wife's a school teacher, she's been booked off sick for stress because a P6 student has got the authority and power to curse and swear and make all kinds of derogatory remarks against a teacher. And that's acceptable, okay? The school does nothing about it. So as a society, what are we saying? Where's the parent stepping up saying to the child, you will not do that. I'll take away your stuff. What's happened is everybody's got rights these days, and everybody's got too many rights. I grew up in an area where there was a little bit of the belt. I turned out okay. I really did turn out okay. I'm not a mass murderer. I'm not a serial killer. I turned out okay. But I understand discipline and I understand consequences. And that's what we're missing at the moment. And you know where it's evident in business? Because we grow up where there's no discipline and no consequences. So when it starts happening, we falter. We don't understand what went wrong. We start blaming. So it might be controversial, but the facts are the facts.
I don't understand why that would be controversial. You take, we are literally, as an adult, bringing up children, and you're getting them prepared to go into life as an adult. Now, are we best serving them or not? I mean, take the school. There'll be a whole plethora of conversations around this, right? But you take an adult being dictated by a kid. That is just absolutely 100% wrong. Now, are there adults in history that have, used that power?
Yeah, abused that power, yes.
The power
1%.
Yes.
1%.
And that happens in anything, right? But that's not the big thing. And when I've been around the schools, there was somebody who spoke to us about it, Mike. He's like, you can't say anything because they're at the risk of losing their job. Now, the reason why they're at the risk of losing their job is down to one thing. And do you know what that one is?
No.
Poor leadership. Poor leadership. You're a strong leader. So there was one of the schools that we've been at, and the headmaster had actually left. And what he did is he got that school structured. And it wasn't like everybody was frightened of him, but there was consequences. He made the kids all wear their uniform, which, one, is a given that it should be happening for all many reasons why you should be wearing school uniform. He also got the teachers in line. So there was none of this woke society with the teachers. He says, you're coming here to do a job. You're getting paid to do a job. I expect the standards being this, this, and this. Do you comply? If you don't, there's the door. Nowadays, teachers are worried about saying something, doing something at the risk of losing their job, which I completely understand. You don't want to lose your job. But you shouldn't be having that worry if you had a strong leader that had your back all the time, because he or she should be identifying who's good, who's bad, who's ugly, who needs to be trained.
But it goes a step further than that, because there's laws. Whether you agree with me or not, the laws are wrong. The laws that you've made is wrong, because what you've done is you've become spineless and backbone. You've made exceptions the norm. You've made exceptions the norm. We have allowed children to talk to teachers the way we want to, and we've made it a law that everybody's got rights. I get everybody's got rights. But where's your area of dignity? Where's your area of respect? What are you teaching your children?
Respect's a big one, because there's no respect now.
Absolutely. You're right. You're absolutely right. I was in Edinburgh yesterday. I look at some of the youngsters walking around there. I look at how they behave, and I'm like, you know where you see it. And I'm telling you that now. For my parents, my dad always said, children don't ask to be here. They don't ask to be. So as a parent, you've got a responsibility for your child till the day you die. But what are you teaching them about respect? Teaching other people the same. Just what comes out of your mouth.
Right, I just wanted to let you know, I know it's just a flippant conversation we're having. There are a lot of kids that are tremendous.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And they've got discipline, they've got good homes, they've got all these things. And there's also diamonds in the rough, I call them. They've maybe had a crap upbringing, But I always say they've got a superpower there because they've been hurt, they've been maybe mistreated in some way, shape or form. But these kids are still they could still become something really, really important. But then there's this other meh group, and that's the group that I'm talking
90%.
about. There's a lot of them. And again, that's been echoed and it's been advertised, and we see it day in, day out when we're going into the schools. You see it on the streets as well. But there needs to be a heavy hand that comes down and go, this is not acceptable.
The police.
Well, the police...
Have you seen how the youth treat the police? In my day, the police were the law. You respected the law because they could arrest you. They could take you away. But what happens today? I mean, I take it my daughter's studying paramedical sciences. There's certain places that they can't go into without a police escort. What's that telling us? And I think it's easy to sit on the outside and say, we need to change something. But change starts with you. If not you, then who? If it's not going to be you, who do you expect to change?
So our listeners, right, our
12 listeners.
Our 12 listeners. Hi there. Mum, can you make sure we know this on? You ask yourself the question, if you see something in the street, it's not happening, right? It's just not right, what's going on. Do you intervene, or you're the other person that walks by and feels all that pain but does nothing about it? Now, I know there's people now, but it's the risk of me getting injured, the risk of me that. It's crisis management. But there's also, if there's 3 or 4 of you going, use agreeing with what I'm saying? Yes, let's get it sorted. Because it becomes a thing. Now, what's the worry and the concern? Well, what happens if I do something that hurts the person, or they get unconscious, or all these things? This is the thing. Everybody's preempting what could happen and what blame's going to be attached to them. You're a human being. When you see something that's unlawful, you intervene. You see an old deer up and down the street getting picked on and spoken to badly.
Yeah.
Who the hell in their right mind would let that happen? Even if I was on my own, I was like, oh, cut that out. Am I at the risk of getting a doing? Possibly. I wouldn't be thinking that. But I'm like, that's morally and ethically right. I should not be. I'm not watching that. No way am I letting that happen on my watch. But you ask yourself the question, what would you do? And I guarantee you, that's where the problem lies.
I think moral and ethically. What does that mean? Moral and ethically, because I think we've lost our morals as a society.
Not me.
No, I'm generalizing. I think there's maybe 10% of the general population that still have got the same morals and ethical values that their parents had. But the bulk of us, we're just like, life's too busy. We've just let it go.
What's your take on that then? Generally, if you were being totally honest, what's your take on that?
It's hard. Everything is hard. So this is being married is hard. Getting divorced is hard. Choose your hard. Being in business is hard. Being employed is hard. Choose your hard. Life is hard. Choose your hard.
Right, you still not answered that.
What's the question?
What I was saying, you take it, and you'll probably answer the same way as me, but really think about that. An old deer.
No, you get involved straight away. You go, this is unacceptable. Who do you think you are? And they go, we'll knife you. You go, come. Let's see if you can. Because aggression only responds to aggression. Because the moment you start standing up to a bully, okay, he loses all his power. Because now he's got 2 choices to make. He either has to follow through or he has to walk away. If he follows through, yeah, you might get a knife. You might. You know what? But at least you stood for something. Because if you don't stand for anything, you'll fall for everything. So do you get involved? Yes or no? Of course you do. You stand up.
It's just not right what you see sometimes.
Well,
I mean, did that ever happen when you're growing up in the rough and ragged area of the View? Let's call it the View.
Had a wee knife pulled out of me before.
But a man of your caliber, you're not worried about
that's
things.
Not a knife.
But yeah, no, you definitely do. I mean, I think there'd be a lot of the population would want to do it. It's just taking the comfort zone of even saying anything. You know, even like complaining at a restaurant or whatever. Folk just don't want to have that kind of conflict, and they will just sit back and allow it to happen.
And that's are these the wet wipes that go in and write a big rant in a review?
Yeah, and a 5
spineless.
Possibly.
No, definitely. You're absolutely right.
I don't know about that so much. Like,
Is this the ones where they say an old dear at the bus stop and they walked past and they went, they went on online and went on Facebook, I can't believe that happened. It's just absolutely shocking. I went, wait.
Take people's comments. We live in a society where it's easy to criticize, it's easy to judge, and we sometimes might come across as that. I'm very aware of that. But if you look at things, you're not calling it out. Okay, you go to a restaurant. If you think that you've got any power over anybody on a cell phone, you're sadly mistaken. Because if you post a bad review about me or you post something, I'm going to delete it. And there's a simple saying: if you're not in my phone book, there's a reason why you're not in my phone book, because you really don't matter to me. And if it's one of my friends doing it, then I'll delete you off my phone book, because then you're not my friend. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, you think about it. People profess and they go, oh, no, we'll help you through thick and thin. That's just talk. When the chips are down, who are the guys that come and stand by you? Who are they? You can count them on one hand. One hand.
And that's the friends in business. Having good friends in business. I think we're all good friends. Or we wouldn't be doing this. But it's amazing how many friends that you can make through your business journey. Yeah. And that's just on a continuous reel.
You just keep it going.
You know, when you're going to these networking events, again, there's one thing that we're talking about, collaborations. Look at your networks as well. And seeing where, I mean, you should be going into networks on the basis trying to help other people, because that, again, feeds back into you later on. Now, some people might not get that. Oh, you're just going there to give to other people. Well, it's a nice thing to do. And I know for a fact that networking's helped me in my business journey, just identifying weak spots in my education, but also giving me that moment to relax or offload to some people just to try and help me because I'm going through a difficult time. So using your networks is really, really wise.
So we've covered a wide variety of topics. Yeah.
I think I thought I better take it back. It's
just stepping back and saying 2025, 2026 is going to be difficult years. You say what sets people apart. It's the people that are not afraid to look at change, to challenge the status quo, because we've always done it this way. Is there a better way? Is there a different way? Can we test it? And you know how you test it. If you change a process, you use the same customer or two different customers, and you do it with one customer and you do it with the other customer, and you measure it. Because what gets measured gets done. And then you see which one is better. You don't just go and change everything. You drip feed change in gradually. But we all think that change is one big thing. Change is maybe sending your invoices out via Xero, which is automated, instead of sitting there typing it out. That's a small little change. But a lot of small changes makes a big change at the end. This is your world.
Shape it, or someone else will.